For players who were already disappointed with Commander Masters, the set as a whole, the price point, the cards, there was that little bit of light saying that the Commander Master Commander decks were going to be the saving grace. But now that these cards and decks have started to be spoiled, it looks like a lot of them are super fails. So in today's video, we'll be taking a look at the Planeswalker party deck, kind of deconstructing what Wizards of the Coast is doing and why these decks are going to be a monumental failure going forward. Commander Masters actually had a chance to be an amazing product. It had the name, the idea, the brand recognition, and yet it looks more and more as we see these cards that it's starting to fall apart at the seams, almost like it wasn't stitched properly, and now nobody wants to buy it. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. It's kind of a disappointment for me because I like the idea of the Sliver deck. I haven't even seen the Eldrazi yet. We'll see that soon. But then we've also got to look at this Planeswalker party deck. I love Planeswalkers, the idea of them, the power level that we've seen. So you think if you have all this chance to put a premium, they may not call it a premium, but the price point tells you where it is. I don't care what the host of that Twitch stream said. It's a premium product. The person who said that was correct. The host is wrong. So when we look at this and you see the price point, it's not a $50 Commander deck. This is $100+. They got to give you some good stuff. They gotta give you the juice, and they fail. There are some decent cards. There's some decent mechanics, and the Sliver deck, to me, at least the Grave Mother, really offers something. Guff will be okay as your commander. Some great Super Friends decks you can build by deconstructing what they're giving you and picking out the one or two cards you want. It's not what Wizard of the Coast should be doing. What I mean by that is, when you're charging that price point and it's the first time you're putting this kind of set together, I say you go with overkill. Be a little bit better. Be a little bit more, gung-ho about getting things. G.I. Joe reference, gung-ho. Get more in there with the product line. You should have put in the Sliver Hive. If you're going to give us these kind of commanders, you got to give us a Nicol or an Ugin. You got to give us something that brings it around to say, hey, or like they said, give us more of the 9 Titans. Give us something. Give us Urza. Something. That's all I'm saying. And they failed to do so. And they had opportunities. There was chances when they did the R&D for this to see where they should take it. And to me, they took it to the weakest, lowest common denominator. They broke it down to dollars and cents only. And when you do something like that, it just doesn't play well. So when you go forward with product lines like this, think about the disappointment level that you are sharing now. You are saying, we can't really rely on Wizards, and I'm not just talking about the mana base or some of the cards. When you're charging this price point, if you're trying to circumvent the secondary market and try to take a bigger piece of the pie, you got to show up. You don't want us to go and buy individual cards there. You want us to buy these products and say, this is the product. You got to give us better things. Less things to modify and change over. A better taste of what this product could be. Because all I saw after looking at the Super Friends deck was saying, there's like 4 or 5 cards maybe I'd use, but I would take this whole thing apart, take those 4 or 5 cards and add it to my current Super Friends deck. That shouldn't be happening. 4 or 5 cards does not make a deck, and that's what they apparently are trying to do. And when the person said in that Twitch stream, it's a premium product, how do you feel about it? You guys like, oh no, it's not. We can't call it that. Where did we say it was a premium price? A premium product, and then the person in the comment section said, oh, it's the price. That's how we all determine it. That's how I determine it. When I see a price point that is far above the norm, that's premium to me. I don't care what their jargon is. That's the way it should be. And when you go forward, looking at anything they send you, less and less people already kind of pre-order less nowadays. They're kind of more apprehensive about spending their hard-earned money. Stores get messed over more, so they order less. They're just putting nails in the coffin slowly but surely, because the odd time they give us something good, and you're like, oh, you got to take one of the nails out. Great. But there's still 400 nails in that coffin. They can't pull them all at once, but they should be doing a better job when they charge this price point. Commander Masters had the chance of adding something flavorful, putting in the fetch lands, shock lands, giving us something to make us want to get in there. And so far, it just isn't. And there's more negativity from the player base building over the product. I'm hearing more about emails, cancellations, Reddit posts saying this is ridiculous. What are they trying to do? And I'm not knocking the Super Friends mana base, the the duels they add, the lands, those are not bad. Those are pretty good. But you can't rely on those as your breaking point because they've been printing those all the time now. Putting in the battle bond lands is great, but they don't have a high value point. They are great utilitarian lands, don't get me wrong. It's just not a high price point. So I'm a little disappointed. Now, let me show you some of these cards. And we're going to do these a little quicker than normal just because I'm not as geared on them. So you see Voronos, the Masked Inquisitor. Now, he's not a horrible card. He's 5 for 5. He's got the 5 loyalty. Now, the starting here where it says up to 2 other target planeswalkers you control phase out. So yeah, you can save your guys. That's kind of cool. The -2 is for each opponent return up to 1 target non-land permanent. So you make all your opponents pick up 1 thing. Sure, but you got to be able to target it. And then -7, an artifact you control becomes a 9/9 construct artifact creature with vigilance indestructible, and this creature can't be blocked. That's interesting, but people are going to target this guy as soon as he comes out. But I do like the artwork. I do like the look of it. It kind of reminds me of Spawn, but in blue. Doesn't it? Look at the mask and stuff. This reminds me of Spawn. Remember that old movie? Now, let's go to Jaya's Phoenix. This thing is 1 red, 4 generic, 3/3 flying haste. All right, fine. Whenever the Phoenix deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, copy the next loyalty ability you activate this turn when you activate it. You may choose new targets for the copy. I do like that. That is not horrible, okay? It's not a bad ability, but it's 5 to get out. There's way better things you'll be casting, and again, people will target that when it comes out probably, assuming the game gets going that way. Now, Chandra, when I see her, I go, okay, we've seen millions of Chandras. I like the backdrop of the imagery, though. 3 loyalty, not great. Bolt bait as soon as it comes in. We got 1 red, 4 generic, but it says, at the beginning of your end step, Chandra Legacy of Fire deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of planeswalkers you control. So you know what? Not bad mid-game casting her out. If you can get some low-level casting cost planeswalkers, not horrible. But these are not high-value cards. These are not cards that are going to be $20, guys. And she's got +1, add 1 red for each planeswalker you control, and then 0. Remove a loyalty counter from any number, from each of any number of permanents you control. Exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play them this turn. I don't see a lot of people, doing that one right away. It's not where I think things are going to go. Now, these cards are a little more interesting. The Gatewatch Beacon, 1 white, 2 generic. Lower casting cost, easier to get out. Now, the beacon says, Gatewatch Beacon enters the battlefield with 3 loyalty counters on it, and it can tap for a white mana. Whenever a planeswalker enters the battlefield under your control, if Gatewatch Beacon has a loyalty counters on it, you may remove a loyalty counter from the Gatewatch Beacon onto that planeswalker. So think about that. Comes in, put a loyalty counter on right away. Amazing. Now it also leaves this artifact being open to being different colors. A red one, a blue one, a green one. They can make it multicolored over the years. Interesting. Now Leroy, the Spark-Touched Hunter. 1 white, 1 red, 1 blue, 3/3, flying vigilance. Whenever the hunter deals combat damage to a player, choose a planeswalker type. Until the end of turn, whenever you activate the ability of a planeswalker of that type, copy the ability. You may choose new targets for the copies. That thing could be brutal. The red and blue guys, that matches off with older planeswalkers like Ral Zarek, who can give like multi-turns. So if you time this well, that's like 10 turns in a row. It could be crazy stuff. So it's a good card, but players are going to recognize it, okay? Now, Guff rewrites history. What a text-driven card here. Okay, 1 red, 2 generic. It says for each player, choose target non-enchantment, non-land permanent that player controls. Those permanents, owners shuffle them into their libraries. Each player who controlled one of those permanents exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Then puts the rest of the bottom of their library in a random order. Each player may cast the non-land card they exiled without paying the mana cost. So everyone gets a freebie. You put something back and everyone gets a freebie because he's rewriting history. I like the text, the idea of this card, and it leads to all kinds of shenanigans that you may or may not be prepared for. When you engineer your deck to use this card and have cards set on top using things like Soldevi Excavations, Rivendell, Castle Vantress to know what card's going to come next, this could mess people up. I love the idea of that particular card. A lot of text though. Now, the Spark Shaper Visionary. Not a horrible card. 1 blue, 2 generic, 0/5. At the beginning of your combat on your turn, choose any number of target planeswalkers you control. Until end of turn, they become 3/3 bird creatures with flying, hexproof, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, scry 1. Depending on the power level of Planeswalkers and the circumstance in which you want to use them, it's kind of cool, but it's got to be Planeswalkers you control, which is the only thing really drawing it back. Teo, the Geometric Tactician, I'm not impressed with this card, guys. I like the fact it's 1 white, 2 generic for the 3 loyalty. When it comes in, you get a 0/4 wall. That's great. You and target opponent is the +1 power. You draw a card. Not horrible, but the -2, choose left or right. Until the end of each turn, player you must attack the person, to the left or the right. That ability seems to me like meh. It just doesn't do it for me. I know he's only a rare. I thought they could have done better with a card like him. Now, the Oath Keeper. This thing is interesting. I like this card, and it will find its way into my Super Friends deck. 1 white, 1 generic, 0/4. Creatures can't attack Planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays 1 for each creature they control that's attacking the Planeswalker you control. This is just like another version of Tabernacle at Pendlevale, but it's geared toward Planeswalkers built into the right deck. This thing could be a mess-up card. It could really add things like Magnus of the Moat, an actual moat. You can mess people up. Now, it does say, as a secondary power, 2 white, 4 generic, exile it, and the Oath Keeper from the graveyard, and you can return target Planeswalker from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this could bring back a big bad boy of comedy. That's what I call the big old school Planeswalkers like Nicobolas or Ugin or the original Karn. You could bring a big thing back. I like that. And of course, there's Guff. Now, I'm not going to go too far into him. You guys have seen this card from the beginning. I just find it interesting that of all those cards, they're going to be okay. They're going to be fun to play with, and they're going to add a little bit. But the value, when you look at buying a commander deck, this isn't a $50 deck. I'm not walking my local store, spending $49.99 Canadian to buy this deck. And here's what I know is going to happen. And most of you who are not Timmies, you know this too. A year from now, if these decks were popular, they're going to get reprinted. It's going to end up on a store shelf. It's going to be at discount at a distributor or on Amazon or your local LGS. We're seeing it more and more, and these decks will be no different. Okay, Wizards knows that they're trying something new. They probably already created how many they're going to do. They got warehouses full of it. They're sending it out to distributors. If they're not popular enough, if they don't go over well enough, they're just going to be cleared out. Okay? And when they get cleared out, that's when they can get cheap. So anyone who's paying top dollar, and I know I've already pre-ordered 2 of these decks. I got the Eldrazi and I got myself the Slivers. I couldn't help myself. The Super Friends I wasn't big on because I kind of figured there wouldn't be anything great, but those 2 decks really got me. And although I'm kind of about the Sliver, it has enough value there for me with the cards it'll provide me with that I can really build an actual Sliver commander deck. This Super Friends deck to me offers nothing. It just seems so generic, and other than the mana base, which was kind of nice, the actual created Planeswalkers and stuff just seems so lowbrow, so underwhelming that I just can't buy into it. And most of you will feel the same way because we know it'll go on sale. And when you start knowing that, when you start thinking about that, you won't buy it. You'll cancel your order and you'll wait. We're patient people when it comes to our money that we protect. And that's the problem with the financial mindset, is there will be people who buy them, who can't wait. There'll be Christmas time with grandmas and grandpas buying their nieces and nephews, and there'll be a significant partner who thinks you'll love the deck and buy it for you. That will, of course, amount to some sales. But when you break down the actual value, hopefully Wizards of the Coast learns from this, because they had an opportunity to give us so much more, and this one just, to me, it fails on all fronts. It just does. It just doesn't have enough to it. It just seems so poorly designed, Anyway, thanks a lot for being here, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me on the channel and allowing me to entertain you each and every day with uploaded content. Guys, if you're new to the channel, by the way, we are getting closer. We're getting closer. Remember, the 20K party is only, 2,447 subscribers away, and then we're going to hit 20K. The rules of the 20K party, when we hit 20,000 subscribers, the rules come out at 19,000 subs. So when we hit 19,000 subscribers, the rules for the party come out, so you guys can all prepare at home for the craziness that we're going to do here, okay? So thanks a lot for hanging out with me today. Thanks for being here on the channel and supporting each and every day with thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up. Comments in the comments section. I love the lively chats we're having lately, and I look forward to seeing you guys each and every day. You make my day brighter. Thanks for being here. Guys, have an awesome one. And don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. And of course, guys, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons I have supporting this channel each and every day. To my YouTube membership members, guys, you blow my mind away with the support. So thank you so much for being here. It's amazing. Patrons make the world go round. All right. You're here at the end. I still have a little coffee. Wait. I don't want to spill it, but there it is. Still got some coffee in the cup. Still disappointed with this particular commander deck. I was hoping for a lot more. I was hoping for some more spice. I think Wizards really did have a chance to mix this up a bit with these commander decks, and they didn't do it. Okay, it's a little bit of a fail for me, but it's fine. I can't control what they do. I just don't think R&D pushed hard enough. Now, for you guys who are my patrons, or just like the Ramble Jamble section at the end, a little insider information for you guys. The rules for the 20K party come out at 19K. Okay, the rules come out at 19. The party doesn't happen until 20, though. All right, but you need to know the rules before we can actually do everything. But what I'm telling you guys out there, in case you were humming and hawing or thinking about it, my Patreon, if there's any slots left, I think there's only a couple right now, but if there's any slots, they will disappear. They get locked down. Only the patrons who are currently there at 19K can jump in on the party. If you're hoping to be one of those people that pops on later, you can't. Okay? Just in case you were thinking about joining a $1 slot or something and getting in, you can't jump at 19K because I'm going to lock it down. And I'll lock it down the same, few minutes that the video comes out to make sure I secure the pricing for the patrons who are currently there, okay? Just a little bit of a insider information because nothing came this week, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm waiting for a lot of stuff to start coming in. It's okay, though. We're going to have a good time, man. This party's going to be epic. I can't give away anything. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. I'm going to drink some coffee. I'm going to kick back. And I've got to update my Throw Bolt deck because cards like this were supposed to be in there, and I haven't done it yet. I got to add in Mount Doom. I got to do it. I know I had to look to make sure I was showing you guys correctly. You should see when I try to do top-down viewings of things, trying to look at the screen and look at you guys. It's crazy. Anyway, have an awesome day. Yeah, I'm jacked up on coffee. Remember that thing from Talladega Nights? I'm jacked up on Mountain Dew. The little kid. I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey. I love the accent. Love the tone. That was such a funny movie. Ricky Bobby. All right, guys. Have a great one. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. MTG Mock. I got you, didn't I? You thought this would be like a whole secret video thing, and maybe I threw something in the background. You're like, did Mox Man mess up his intro? No, I didn't mess it up. There's a section after the section today. First of all, one of my new Conan books came in. I love the Savage Sword of Conan, so if you make it this far in the video, you're going to put Conan, Savage Sword. I'm not going to tell you why you're going to put it. You're not going to tell other people to put it, but you're going to put that in the comment section. Because sometimes these things are important. Most people always forget. There are reasons to do things we do. All right? Now, you're here, right? You made it. So, epilogue boosters, right? Okay. You made it this far. This is a 20K free prize. It'll be free. You'll have to do certain things to get there, but you know it's now here. Okay, it's there. You know it's here. Make sure you record this somewhere because it might be important. Epilogue, Aftermath. You can just put Aftermath, Epilogue Boosters, okay? You're going to record that. I will not be repeating this. This will sit like this. Nobody's even going to know. It just goes back on the shelf. But you now know because you did the beyond. The beyond! I'm still jacked up on coffee. You guys are awesome.